You ever stumble upon a reading list that feels less like homework and more like a user manual for being human? Well, today, we're diving into a high school curriculum that does exactly that. It pieces together these huge lessons on life, loss, and what it all really means. Just think back for a second, back to your school days. Was there that one story or maybe a poem that did way more than just get you a passing grade? Something that actually made you see the world a little differently? A character whose story just stayed with you. Yeah, that feeling? That's what we're chasing today. So, get this. We found a Class 12 reading list from Assam, India, and it is just jam-packed with those kinds of stories. Seriously, this isn't just a syllabus. It's basically a roadmap to the human experience, and it's about to take us on a wild ride through some of the biggest questions we all have. Okay, so let's crack this thing open and see what lessons are waiting for us. First up, we're jumping right into a world we all have to deal with every single day, the tricky landscape of social status and what we're actually worth. How do you even measure a successful life? Is it about money, social circles, or is it something deeper? Something you can't just buy or inherit? Well, this reading list gives us two very, very different answers to that exact question. I mean, just look at this contrast. It's incredible. On one hand, you have Rosemary Fell. She has everything society tells us to want: the money, the fashion, the status. But her so-called kindness, it's just a performance. It's an accessory she uses to feel good about herself. And the second her ego gets a tiny bit bruised because her husband thinks a poor girl is pretty, poof, that compassion is gone. It was totally hollow. But then you have Albert Edward, a guy who just lost everything: his job, his dignity, all because he can't read. Society has basically tossed him aside. But here's the thing. Unlike Rosemary's fragile sense of worth, his is built on pure resilience. He's got this inner strength that no one can ever take away from him. And here's the payoff. £30,000. That's what Albert has in the bank after just a decade. But the real story, the real punchline, comes when the bank manager finds out he's illiterate and says, "Just imagine where you'd be if you could read." And his answer is just perfect. He says he knows exactly where he'd be. He'd still be a verger. It's such a powerful lesson, right? The world's yardstick for measuring a person is so often just wrong. True value comes from grit, from ingenuity, not from a piece of paper. Okay, so we've all felt lonely. It's just part of being human. But what if you were truly, completely, utterly alone? Moving from that outer world of society, this syllabus now takes us deep inside to explore the terrifying reality of total isolation. We all kind of dream about getting away from it all, don't we? A quiet cabin in the woods, a deserted beach. It sounds so idyllic. But what happens when that dream turns into a nightmare you can't wake up from? That's what happened to Alexander Selkirk. He was a sailor, stranded on an island for 4 long years. For him, solitude wasn't charming, it was a curse. And at first, you can almost hear him trying to make the best of it. He declares himself the king of this island, the absolute ruler of his own little world. He's got total freedom, nobody to tell him what to do. It sounds pretty good, right? The ultimate power trip. Well, not so fast. Because then reality hits, and it hits hard. His kingdom is a prison. His freedom is a torment. In this heartbreaking turnaround, he realizes he would rather live in a city full of danger and chaos than be the king of this empty, horrible place. It's a profound thought, isn't it? That our need for connection, just to hear the sweet music of speech, is more essential to us than power or even our own safety. And then there's death. It's the one journey we all have to take. But how do we face it? What do we want to leave behind? Our syllabus now brings us to this final, universal question, and it gives us 2 completely different ways to think about our final moments. First up, let's hear from Ozymandias. This is a ruler so obsessed with his own power that he had this command carved into his monument for everyone to see. This isn't just a boast. It's a roar of pure arrogance meant to echo through time. He is so sure of his own greatness that he's daring all future kings to just look at his empire and give up. But time always has the last word. And all that's left of Ozymandias' mighty empire, of all his works and all his power, is this: a busted statue, half sunk in an endless desert. His challenge to the mighty is now just the punchline to a cosmic joke. It is the ultimate reminder that all human power, no matter how great it seems, just fades away. So if that path of pride and power just leads to a pile of sand, what's the other option? Well, the reading list doesn't leave us stranded in the desert. It offers us another way to look at the end of life, a way that swaps out all that arrogance for a quiet, profound sense of peace. Now just listen to this. This is Emily Dickinson. And feel that shift in tone. Death isn't some terrifying enemy you have to fight. No, he's a gentleman, a driver who kindly stops his carriage for you. The journey isn't a battle, it's a calm, leisurely ride toward whatever comes next. It suggests that maybe true strength when we face the end isn't about fighting it, but about meeting it with grace. So, when you pull back and look at all these stories together, what's the real lesson here? From the fragile ego of a rich hostess to the quiet acceptance of the end, a powerful curriculum for how to live starts to take shape. This is so much more than a list of books for an exam. It's a guide to living a better, more thoughtful life. It teaches us that the kind of status Rosemary chases is worthless compared to the resilience Albert builds from the ground up. It shows us that Ozymandias' desperate grab for power is a fool's errand, while Dickinson finds peace by simply letting go. Really, it proves that literature is like a flight simulator for our own lives. It lets us explore the most complex parts of being human, and hopefully come out the other side a little bit wiser. And that brings us right back to where we started. We've just walked through the lessons from one particular syllabus, but the truths inside are for everyone. So it leaves me with one last question for you. What's the story that helped draw the map for your own life? What's the one that really stuck? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.